here's what I want to do. I want to go to fan mock drafts. I want to take callers. JB, I do see the lines are filled, so we'll get to them shortly. But before we do, Alex, let's throw up the first fan mock draft. You guys have seen the Devon Witherspoon Pro Day. You've seen the Miles Murphy Pro Day. I'm interested.
And by the way,
has your opinion changed?
By the way, send us mock drafts. I'm kind of getting short now because I've went through so many of them. Then we'll start going to you. Jeff Iafrate on Instagram and Twitter. Send me your mock drafts, guys. Updated mock drafts. You can go on now, Alex. We'll get the first one up.
All right, let's see it. Let's throw the first one on the... Ooh, I haven't seen this in a minute. Jeff, you go through this.
Okay, so he took Tyree Wilson at 6. Not sure who was there. You got Tyree Wilson, Brian Branch at 18. Okay. Not a huge Tyree Wilson guy, but still, at 6, there you go. Not a bad pick. Brian Branch at 18. I like that. Campbell at 48. Probably unlikely, but we'll just go off what we see here. Campbell. Andre Carter, the second at 55. A.T. Perry at 81. Dwayne McBride in the 5th, Aiden O'Connell in the 6th, and Ventrell Miller, another linebacker. I don't mind this draft. I mean, if I had to nitpick it, not a huge fan of Tyree Wilson, not a huge fan of Andre Carter, but the rest of the players I'm all for. I like the A.T. Perry pick personally. I know a lot of people are iffy on A.T. Perry. There you go. There's your 6'4", 4'3"-ish speed. And then you get Dwayne McBride in the 5th. I like Dwayne McBride a lot. If you're looking at most of these players, I'm cool with it. I know PFF gave him an A. You guys drop your grades in the chat. What would you give them? What about you, Adam? What do you think? Give this one a grade.
Okay, I don't like Tyree Wilson, but I'm not going to dig... How do I say this? I'm not going to just dig at his draft because I disagree on a player. Jalen Carter, obviously, I feel more strongly about, but I'm just going to look past Tyree Wilson for a little bit, if you guys don't mind, okay? After Tyree Wilson, I think a very solid pick in Brian Branch. I think he is your protection to C.J. Gardner-Johnson leaving, essentially, in 1 year. Nick Saban coached players. You can always sign me up. I'll never hate it. Jack Campbell at pick 48. That's an absolute steal because we've seen him go as low as 27. Yeah. And, I mean, on average, probably 35, 37 is where he's at.
Low 30s.
That's unexpected. I'll take it. I don't think Andre Carter is the right move here. I don't know who was on the board. I don't know who's available. All I know is doubling down on edge rusher in this draft makes no sense.
I would probably take a corner.
They've yet to draft an interior defensive lineman. Sayaki Ika.
Yeah, or an interior defensive lineman.
Again, you don't even have to force it. You could get a wide receiver here, and I'd be happy. But not at 55. Because you can not doubling down in the second round with another edge rusher when I just drafted, in your theory, Tyree Wilson to pair alongside Aiden Hutchinson, James Houston, Josh Pascal, Kaminsky, Aquara. I mean, the list goes on and on here. To me, no. Interior defensive lineman is a must. So if I were to give this a grade, PFF gave it an A-. I like some of the players, but I don't like the draft strategy. It gets a C. Maybe, yeah, it gets a C. It's a C draft. Yeah. I think a big miss in the first 2 rounds.
Funky says, WoodwardSports.com, it will be a bad pick when his foot ain't right and he never plays a snap. Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, he does have injuries. So that's another concern for me for Tyree Wilson.
All right, let's throw up the next one on the board.
Yeah, I
gave it a C. What'd you give it?
I'd give it a C, too.
Yeah?
Not like wowed by it. It's all right.
I think, again, Jack Campbell, solid pick. Brian Branch, solid pick. But you can't whiff that bad, in my opinion. You can't double down on edge. If you're doubling down on any position this year in the first 2 rounds, I'd like to think it's on the interior. Yeah. You only have 2 active on the roster. I know Kaminsky can go inside. I know Aiden Hutchinson can slide in, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
Let's move forward. Bugs, McNeil. Let's throw up the next mock draft. What do we got on the screen? A trade back with Tennessee, which I wonder who Tennessee took. Probably a quarterback in this scenario.
But they got a future. They got
a future
first.
one. So already this draft to me is an A+.
Yep.
This is, I think, the best draft I've seen. You get a future one, a second. You get Christian Gonzalez, who is arguably one of the most sought-after prospects at the corner position alongside Devon Witherspoon. You guys can pick and choose. I don't really care. You get Kalijah Kancey at 18. Jack Campbell at 41. Excellent. You address the guard position in the second round. Oh, and you also draft a safety. I am impressed with the first 3 rounds. In the later rounds, you go for a linebacker, tight end, and kicker. I would have loved to seen a running back personally in the 5th round or in the 6th, but hey, no problem at all. The tight end I don't really care for, and the kicker I can get behind.
Yeah, majority of the players I'm cool with. My favorite is obviously the trade back. You get a future first, you're right. You get an A from me immediately. Again, Christian Gonzalez and Kancey in the first round, I'll take that. especially get him at 18, Cansey. I'm cool with this. I mean, your first 4 or 5 picks are guys that are going to be able to play right away. Maybe not Jordan Battle this year, but still stash him. Even if you can't play significant snaps, if CJ leaves, or we'll see what the future holds with Tracy Walker, you got your guy Jordan Battle ready to play. So no issue with it at all. Good draft. I give it an A based off that trade. He nailed it.
All right.
Anytime you get a future first, you get an A from me.
All right, JB, we got a ton of callers on the line. Who do we want to take first?
Here, I will send you guys Scott first.
All right, Scott, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us this morning, buddy?
Good morning, gentlemen. How you doing? I hope you're a little bit warmer than you were yesterday.
Scott, I've never felt better. The chest hairs are percolating. My balls never warmer. Oh, my goodness. Excellent start to the morning.
All right, so one thing before I get started. Yesterday, when the tent blew away, were you guys starting to talk about Kyle Clancy?
No, we were talking about Dwayne Casey, I believe, at the time.
Yeah.
I heard that on the heavyweights. I was like, oh my god, that is hilarious. I'm gonna have to ask him that tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was odd timing, Scott. Right when we talk about Dwayne, the 10 blows away. I don't know. Something's.
It was great. The facial reaction on Adam's face. It looked like the world was coming to an end.
It was because we improperly set up a tent, and I was like, what can I do about it? I'm stuck on a desk talking sports.
Yeah, we were speechless.
God. Oh, man. What do you got for us, Scott?
All right.
Hit us.
I'm going to touch onto that second mock draft. I thought that the majority of it was good. I wouldn't have took the linebacker from Indiana. I would have took Ivan Pace Jr. instead of him at, 152nd?
Yep.
I would have took Ivan Pace over him. The tight end, I probably wouldn't have took him from Cincinnati. I probably would have doubled down on another D tackle, but that's just me personally.
Would you?
All together, I give him an A.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Solid. I would agree. I think it's one of my favorite boards, the idea that you get to trade back, acquire a future first, not have any pressure to take a quarterback. You have 2 first-round picks next year. You'll have your second-round pick. You'll have 2 thirds. You'll be able to maneuver in next year's draft relatively easily, in my opinion, if you did want a quarterback next year. To me, I can't find a better scenario. Again, we can disagree on the players, but if the Lions are able to trade back to 11, I'm feeling really good about the idea of them getting one of the better corners. I feel really good about them still being able to move up if they want. A lot goes well for the Lions here. But, again, the only reservation I have ever, and this goes for all of you, is once you trade back, you lose control of the board. Once you trade back, you have no power. You don't get to determine what those teams take. And yes, if Tennessee did move up in that situation, likely, let's say, for a quarterback, okay, let's say I give you that, well, likely Will Anderson is off the board by then. Either Jalen Carter / Tyree Wilson, reportedly going to Seattle at 5, or it could be Anthony Richardson. I don't know. I don't want to play this too much, but the point is, you have Vegas, then Atlanta, then Chicago, and then Philly. What do those four teams need? You know, Chicago likely going offensive line. You never know with the Raiders. They are a complete unknown. Atlanta, that is my concern for Kalijah Kancey. That team, to me, either goes for Kalijah Kancey or for one of the corners, okay?
Maybe
and then Philly, everybody likes to say Bijan. I don't know how much I buy into that. I don't. The idea that Bijan is going to be the 10th overall pick, is he talented enough to be? Yes. Is that what Philly is going to double down on given how they've drafted for so long? I just don't see it. But Scott, I appreciate the call. Well done this morning, buddy.
All righty, guys. Have a good one.
You too.
Talk to you later.
Yep.
Yep. Take care, Scott.
All right. Phone lines are open. 313-552-6322 is the number. Are you a fan of Tyree Wilson is the poll Jeff just threw up. I'm going to put a big old no in there.
Yeah, you see T-Roll in the chat says Atlanta needs a QB2. I'm not out on Atlanta taking. If one of those quarterbacks slide, if we have a Malik Willis situation, not saying Anthony goes to the 3rd round or anything, but if he starts sliding down and he's there for Atlanta, we did this on our mock here.
How many people
I
are
would love it.
hungover this morning?
Probably a lot.
Honestly. Well, how much of the population took off yesterday and tomorrow? Or technically today?
Well, if you took off yesterday, you're probably taking off today.
Right? I'd imagine.
I would assume.
How intoxicated is everybody? You guys can put it on a scale of 1 to 10. How hungover are you? Honestly. I would love to know. I would love to know.